Hello and welcome to the lab. So today we're going to be doing a little investigation to see how light changes materials. So we have 3 different materials that we will be working with. And as we work with those materials, I will give you descriptions of what is happening. Okay, so let's go ahead, let's head on in, make sure we are ready to go, and we will get started with this investigation. All right, so welcome to our first station. The first station, the material we're going to be looking at is liquid crystal paper. So if you've ever used a boogie board, or maybe your little sibling has one, or you've seen them at the store, those are these, they're about like the size of a small dry erase board. You draw on them with a pen and they change different colors. That's the material that we're gonna work with right now. But let's go ahead and get started. So right now, this piece of boogie paper is a really pretty green bluish color, okay? And then as I hold this into the light, I'm gonna shine my flashlight on, okay? So I just have a standard flashlight like this. I'm gonna shine it on, we're gonna see what differences we notice, and I'll count to 10. So go ahead and count for me. 10. All right, let's check it out. Oh, so it looks like it turned into a navy blue color. It's starting to kind of change a little bit again. But so we held that flashlight to it and it turned from this green color that we saw into a navy blue. So make sure you make a note of that on Amplify so that you have it. All right, so I have our next station set up. And this is something you may have seen before. So these are little toys that have solar panels in them. And we're gonna see what happens. I have my camera light currently turned off, okay? And I'm gonna shine a flashlight and we'll see what happens with each of them as I hold that flashlight up above. It's the same flashlight from before. And I'm just gonna move around. So what are you noticing is happening as I hold the flashlight above each of them? They're starting to what? Yeah, they're starting to move, okay? Well, what's making them move? The light? Well, what about the light? What about this light is making for each of these toys to move? Well, let's continue our investigation. We have one more spot to go. Okay, so let's go ahead and head to our third lab station. All right, so for our third lab station, we actually have 2 things set up. So we have a thermometer, okay, you can see it there, set up underneath the light, and I have the starting temperature here. Okay, it started at 90 degrees Fahrenheit. It's important that we make sure we put that F so that we know. And then I'm gonna look at the ending temperature. Then over here, away from the light, okay, we have another thermometer that started at 90 degrees, and we're gonna see what its ending temperature is. All right, so our thermometer is here. And I'm gonna take a look. And it looks as though this one is ending at 96 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? So I'm gonna write that down. So it ended at 96 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's go check out the one that was not underneath the light. So this one actually has dropped down in temperature, and the reason for that is I was holding them, so it probably made the temperature go up earlier, but it is actually at 84 degrees. 84 degrees what? Yeah, Fahrenheit. So we got to put that F at the end. So we started at 90. And we ended at 84. And this was our thermometer that was not underneath light. All right, so we just got done with our first investigation. Now, thinking about that investigation, we have to look at it like scientists would. And the first thing we need to think about is, what did we see? What observations were we able to make? What was it that we noticed? And how does that connect to what we're trying to figure out? So let's pause for a moment and think, what changes did you observe? Now we're thinking about what happened when we shined that flashlight on to the 3 different materials that we had. What is it that you happen to be able to see? Now, what caused those changes or those observations that we were able to make? So now we're making an inference for what caused it. The light? Do we think it was the light? Well, what about the light caused those changes to happen? It's a really tough one. So the light is doing something to each of those materials to make them change. Energy, energy, energy. Well, what do we know about energy? How do we know that energy caused it? Do we know that? And if energy caused it, how did it get there? How did the energy get from the light to the material and wherever else it ended up going? Those are the kinds of things that we have to think about because we're scientists and we're trying to figure this out. So we want to take what we observed and try to figure out what that means. As we're talking about light and energy and light, a key concept that we should copy into our notebooks is that light carries energy that causes materials to change. That's what we saw, right? We saw that the light did something to those materials. So write in your notebook, light carries energy that causes materials to change. Well, what is light? What is energy? We haven't quite talked about those things yet. So let's see. What is light? Well, light is a type of wave, hey, that carries energy from one place to another place. Whoa, light's all around. Does that mean energy is everywhere too? Again, you want to make sure this is in your notebook, but light is a type of wave that's carrying energy from one place to another, even through open space or empty space. Okay, so light, it's carrying that energy from one place to another, even through empty space. Make sure you have both of these things in your science notebook. The next thing is we're going to do what we call an anticipation guide. So we're just getting started on figuring out what it is that light does that causes cancer to happen. That's like the big question we're working on figuring out. We're trying to see the relationship between light and cancer. So on Amplify, you're going to complete the anticipation guide. For each statement, you're going to indicate whether you agree or disagree. You don't need to worry about being right or wrong or somewhere in between, because this is our chance to think about what we already know about light. And then as we learn more throughout this unit, we'll be able to go back to it and revise and explain these answers. So right now we just are concerned with, do we agree or do we disagree with the statements that are there? Again, this is going to be completed on Amplify. If you need help getting there, please let me know. Okay, now, just so we can be even more prepared for the next time that we meet together, I have some explorations that you can use for the remaining time of class. Get you ready for the next class. In the next class, we're going to be using a simulation. So this time we watched a video of me doing a demonstration. Next time, you'll do a simulation on the computer. So with this time, you can explore this, what we call sim. So there are 2 different modes. You can use simple and complex and see the difference. And then just jot down something in your notebook that you noticed, or maybe that you had a question, or even figured out from this exploration, okay? And then the next thing is we just did a really cool experiment or investigation, and we took 3 materials and we saw what happened when they interacted with light. Well, this is something that you can do with an adult's permission. You can conduct an at-home investigation, and I would love to hear what you find. So once mission control, aka your parent or guardian or another adult, gives approval, you can do the following. You might need to pause this video so that you can see this, but you can find 2 to 3 objects, locate a light source, and that can be anything. It could be a flashlight, it could be the sun, it could be a lamp, whatever light source that you have. I guess it could even be a headlight to a car, whatever it is. You're going to locate a light source, and then you're going to place those objects near that light source just like we did. Be careful that they're not touching. Observe what changes you notice after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, however long. Take some notes, write it down, put it in your science notebook, and be ready to share about it in the next class.